friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is finally fall, and it's a little bit cold where I live today, which is very exciting. So I am absolutely thrilled to be getting into an October and fall book recommendation video with you. It really feels like once fall finally comes around, everyone wants those epitome of fall things. I'm talking books, coffee, blankets, candles, everything that makes it really feel like fall is what people want once it is finally here, myself included. It's that time, people. Let's find those things. I am extra excited because this is the first season change that I have had since I started my YouTube channel. So I'm just very excited to share all of these book recommendations with you and to have already changed my bookshelf. I've got pumpkins, the candle, the whole thing. It's time we're doing it. So next step, books. Let's really dive into some books that will get you in the October and Halloween spirit. Whenever I am looking for books in October, I really like some fantasy and some witches and magic and ghosts and just that spooky feeling overall. I really want a book that enhances that fall feeling. So if that's what you're looking for, you are in the right spot. I'm going to touch on a couple of different genres to try and appeal to whatever you may be looking for and things that I want to read as well. First book that I am going to recommend is The Once and Future Witches. I actually read this book last year in October, and it was after I had kind of taken a break from reading for a while. I hadn't picked anything up in quite a few months, and in October, I was just ready for those fall vibes. I was ready for something that felt like Halloween and October was coming. So I picked this book up from my local library and I absolutely loved it. It was light and easy to get through and just really had those fall vibes that we were looking for. So this book is an alternative history and fantasy, and we follow three sisters, James Juniper, Agnes Amaranth, and Beatrice Belladonna, which first of all, how fabulous are those names? I'm obsessed. I was pretty much sold as soon as I read those names. I just love them. And these three sisters are joining the suffragist movement in 1893 in Salem. They begin to pursue the forgotten words and ways that would turn the women's movement into a witches movement. And we follow along as they try to understand magic and powers, especially their own. They are doing this in a time where magic is not accepted and witches are burned if they are found to be witches or determined to be witches. So these sisters are diving into the oldest magic they can find, trying to research the history of witches and women, and they're gaining new alliances, and they're having to repair the bond between them to try and survive. I remember really loving this book last year and felt like it wasn't super dark. I am not a person who likes gory books or anything that's overly scary, so I just wanted something that delivered that fall atmospheric vibe that we are looking for, which this one does, with a touch of some strong female characters, witches, and magic. Next up on our list is Daisy Darker, and Daisy Darker is a family reunion that turns a murder mystery, all set on the night of Halloween. This book follows the Darker family as they gather to celebrate Nana's 80th birthday. So the entire family travels over to Nana's house, which is a gothic house set on a tiny tidal island. Already love it, already perfect for October. But what's really interesting is that when high tide comes in, no one can access or leave this island. So that's kind of interesting considering that after midnight, one member of the family starts to die at every hour until high tide is gone. Again, this is not a super scary or gory mystery, but it is a fantastic book nonetheless. I remember loving the plot and the pace of this book and feel like it would be a really good recommendation if you are looking for an easy to read mystery, but that's not predictable. Next, we have The Ex-Hex, and I actually just finished this book. It was the first one that I have read for the witchy and Halloween and fall season, and it was perfect for that. So in this book, we are following Vivian Jones, and she has just dealt with a breakup. So she does what any reasonable young adult woman would do to deal with a breakup, and she handles it with vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on her ex-boyfriend. Reese Penhallow, said cursed ex-boyfriend, also descendant of the town that Vivian lives in, Graves Glen, returns. There are some magical things happening in the town that he needs to come and assist with. So him and Vivian are trying to solve their town's magical problems while also trying to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry that is still there despite the curses she put on him. Was your cute and typical romance book, but with some major fall vibes, some witches, and it was very Disney, but with some angst type of book. Bonus, I know that the author Erin Silver did also just release a new witchy Halloween book for this year, so I know her writing style from this one and feel like her new one would also be a really good recommendation. Maybe read them both. Like I said earlier, I really enjoy and want to read fantasies during the fall months. I am not sure what it is. I just really enjoy that world building and magical creature and element type of book during this season. So the next book that I'm going to recommend is Serpent and Dove. And Serpent and Dove follows Louise LeBlanc, and she flees her coven and moves to the city of Cesarine. And she forsakes all magic and lives off whatever she can steal. Witches like Louise are feared and they are hunted and burned. Sworn to the life of a church, Reed Diggory has lived his life by one principle, and that is, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Sounds pretty intense. His path was never meant to cross with Luz, but they do. And because of a wicked stunt, there becomes an impossible situation that they have to handle, and they do so with holy matrimony. Yes, this one has witches, forbidden romance. Count me in. Count me in. Haven't actually read this one, but I want to. Like I said, I want a good fantasy now. So I'm going to be picking this book up. Please let me know if you have read it. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you read it after this video, please let me know what you think. I cannot wait to get into this one. The last book that I have as a recommendation for October is one that is also on my list to read in October. So I have not read this book yet, but I think it will be a fantastic pick for the month of October. We are looking at a ghosty romance, and of course, it is the Dead Romantics. So in this book, we follow Florence Day, and she is a ghostwriter, funny play on words there, for a very prolific and prominent author, but she is also dealing with another situation. She has just dealt with a really bad breakup and no longer believes in love. Typical for a romance, right? She no longer believes in love until she walks out of a funeral parlor door and sees the most handsome man ever standing there as a ghost. He is just as confused as she is about how they can see each other, how they're able to communicate. I love it. I want to read it. I don't need any more details. It's a ghosty romance for October. Count me in. So now you have 5 books that I would recommend for the month of October, and especially just into the fall season. I hope that you enjoy them. If you have read any of these, please let me know your thoughts. I would love to know what you think about the books, especially the 2 that are on my list to read. And please let me know if you have any other suggestions. I would love to add them to my list as well. I, just like you, am looking for some new fun seasonal books to read. It is such a fun time. I love when the fall weather comes around and we start getting into the holidays. It is so fun to pick up books that also fit into those seasons. So I am here for all of these suggestions and will continue to share mine with you. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these books, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!